Prince William shares a heartfelt picture of his mother.
And Meghan is doing what in Australia? Welcome to Heirs and Spares, the show that dives into the fascinating world of two of the most recognized royal couples on both sides of the Atlantic. I'm Kinsey Schofield, and I'll be bringing you updates on Prince Harry and Meghan from New York City.
And I'm Rupert Bell in the heart of the UK, post a full-on Cheltenham week where lots of royals actually attended. So it's a quieter week for me, but I wonder if it's going to be a quiet week for the Prince and Princess of Wales. I'll have all the news.
Let's start with a very sweet image we saw over the weekend. Prince William marked UK's Mother's Day by sharing a deeply personal tribute to his late mother, Princess Diana. The Princess of Wales, this was like a never before seen childhood photo from 1984 showing him as just a little toddler walking through a field of flowers with Diana at Highgrove. Alongside the image, Prince William wrote, "Remembering my mother today and every day, while also acknowledging those grieving loved ones on Mother's Day." As you know, Diana died in a car crash in 1997 in Paris. William was just 15 years old, and this was a rare acknowledgement. We tend to see Harry and Meghan kind of hijacking the Diana legacy, so it was nice to see Prince William mention his mom.
Yeah, and throughout the day of Mother's Day in the UK, bearing in mind your Mother's Day is not for in May sometimes when it's the American one, but our
May.
one was yesterday. So maybe we'll be waiting for the Meghan version. I was sort of thinking there may be something coming out all day from the other side, but I don't think anything did. So it actually got a free rein, and it just was a good thing to do because I'm sure anyone who has lost a parent at a young age thinks about their mother on a daily basis. And as a result, it is something that is deeply personal. And that while he was probably too young to remember that photograph being taken at the age of 2, the fact is he has it, and it is a very sweet image. It sort of reflects his mood. He doesn't do it very often to sort of allude to his mother because it is a personal thing. But I think Mother's Day is a day he felt was appropriate to release something like that, and fair play to him because I think it also reflects them as a family how much. The memory of Diana is instilled in his children. And I think that is a reflection of him saying she was an important person. She was an important person in her short life in terms of the sort of perception of the royal family. She left her mark on it. And I think that is something that has to be celebrated in her short life, bearing in mind she was taken in her late 30s.
No, and it is sweet. It's sad and it's sweet and kind of a treat if you're a Princess Diana fan because it's hard to see. I mean, it just feels like she's so exposed. There's an auction with her dresses or a piece of her life. At least once a year, there's a big auction of some of her letters and Christmas cards. So to see something that's never been seen before actually really does feel special in this space.
Yeah, because there are some people who seem to have cashed in on her legacy, and that is not to be applauded. And so I think we do need to see things that resonate really personally with him, and obviously that photograph does. So I think it was good. It's been a good week, I think, for the Prince and Princess of Wales. They've been doing quite a lot of stuff over the last week since we last spoke. So I think it's been a good week from that perspective, and that was a suitable way to remember Mother's Day and impart some, a touching tribute to someone. Well, there's so much sort of other stuff going on. Nice to see something that is takes our mind off what is a. Although it has to be said for William, it will be a pretty, it's a heartfelt time. It does just reflect a sort of a very positive side of his nature.
Well, let's talk about another wonderful mom, the Princess of Wales. We sometimes discuss like the idea on this show specifically of oversharing. And there's a pair of people that do a lot of that. But there's something so strategic and clever with the way that Prince William and Catherine operate in the sense that we just get teeny tiny bits and pieces of their life. Um, organically, so organically that it doesn't feel like an overshare or we're not overwhelmed or it just doesn't feel as thirsty as the other pair. And the Princess of Wales revealed that her 2024 cancer diagnosis significantly changed her lifestyle, including how much alcohol she drinks. Now, this was during a visit with Prince William to a London brewery. Catherine declined a beer and said she had very little alcohol since her diagnosis because it's something she has to be much more conscious of now. Instead, she opted for a soft drink, while William joked about his love of cider. The candid comment offered a rare glimpse into how Catherine has adjusted her habits following cancer treatment and her recovery. Well, that's okay, Rupert. We'll have a drink for her.
Well, I don't know what. Well, what was how was your Oscars party? We got to ask. I mean, was it a late? Well, it's very early in the morning here when it's going on, and I can't work out what's going on at the Oscars. We'll get back to the Princess of Wales, but we must touch on it because obviously you were full hock deep in reporting it, and I don't know whether was it a good one, but we managed to get an Irish actress winning for Hamnet, which is obviously about Shakespeare, and I come from Shakespeare country, so that was good. So the rest of it sort of glossed over me. We're not talking about the Oscars, but obviously, does that mean even in New York, where you're talking me from, you have a celebration to, or is that just to get through the ordeal of watching it? Well, tell me what it is.
I did have to have a couple beverages to get through the ordeal of watching it.
Yeah.
I just don't, all of these people celebrating themselves when the world is on fire is hard for me to stomach.
Well, it is interesting, and I don't know what you're doing. Text me in the middle of the night, my time, but you seem to have forgotten time zones at one stage. I'm sure that was just an innocent mistake and nothing to do with whatever beverage you were helping to get through the Oscars. But I did think that was quite funny, given that we are used to normally speaking 8 hours apart from each other, and suddenly Britain had moved to another time zone. Anyway, it made me laugh at 4 o'clock in the morning when I read your message while you were still having to make your way through, I don't know, another interminable award that was being given out at the Oscars last night. Anyway, we digress because I think the Prince and Princess of Wales, I think it is important that people have to find their ways to recover their own way. And if it means for a better health, that she says, right, abstinence is the way I've got to go forward. I think they were in a brewery in South London where we have a lot of these sort of little breweries pop up. Well, and they're businesses in their own right, but you find them in the most strange places. Back in the day, we'd have had breweries all over the country, but now they're less frequent. And down you will know where they were, practically at Borough Market, which is really near
Our office, yeah.
our offices. So, which is it's a tourist trap. It's
Yeah.
basically where you can get lots of sourdough, you can get lots of sort of posh foods, occasionally at quite a posh price, because it is a tourist trap. And look, it's quite fun to walk around, and you get lots of lovely different types of food. But and we saw, didn't we see Kate get up on
A
a ladder
ladder.
to stir the hops and get stuck in. She's never frightened whenever she goes on is to do something, whether it be something of a sporting variety or just being there to get stuck in, and knows what being on one of these gigs is about, which is, provide a photo op, look as if you're enjoying it, and as you say, produce a little nugget about the way she's had to adapt her life, because I'm sure she might have liked the odd glass of wine, never one who would be drinking more. And when you think the royals' lifestyle could actually lead, because you can have lunches, you can have receptions, you do have to be extremely disciplined at being a member of the royal family
Mhm.
because you are on the go. You're often going to social environments where drink is there. So you have to be very careful. Now, someone like the Princess Anne is renowned. She doesn't do lunch. Just, if you're around about at lunchtime, it probably will be, well, she won't, rarely will do a sit down job. So, and so therefore, it's a bit of breakfast, get me through the day, then I'll have something in the evening. So you do have to manage your lifestyle because it could easily be one, oh, I'll just have a glass of wine at lunch. Then you'll go to a cocktail party, or I'll have a glass of wine. Then you're at a dinner, or I'll have a glass of wine. So it's while you can say it's a privileged lifestyle, when you're expected to be on show, you do have to maintain it's very important. So that it is a disciplined lifestyle. You look at them, they all keep themselves fit, and because they know that's what's expected of them. So I think it's a very interesting sort of aspect of being I've sort of how do they do it? Because I know I'd be as weak-willed as possible. At any opportunity, one will do. And I'm not saying that I'm an absolute raging alcoholic, but I know I like drink. But to be a member of the royal family is a discipline, and actually the health aspect of this, I think, is very important because I'm sure lots of other people who've had to recover from cancer have had to make some dramatic lifestyle changes to make sure that their diagnosis, their recovery continues apace.
Absolutely. You just want to do what you know is best for your body. Your skincare might be more toxic than your food. Have you heard? Just like choosing healthy food, we need to be more careful about what we put on our bodies. I've been hyper aware of every product I use, reading labels, researching ingredients, realizing just how many toxic chemicals we let into our daily routine. Check the label on your moisturizer. It reads like a lab report. Swap your toxic moisturizer for Cow Guy's Tello Balm, a natural hydrating balm with ingredients you can actually pronounce. It's safe and more effective than conventional alcohol or water-based lotions, and your skin will be glowing. Tallow Balm was used for generations before Big Pharma ruined skincare. Use it as a lotion on your hands, arms, legs, face, and lips. Use it for eczema, psoriasis, dry, or normal skin as an everyday moisturizer. Plus, it's American made and rancher owned in the great state of Texas. It's the best tallow balm you can find. Go to tallowguys.com to get your tallow balm and get a mini tallow balm free. No special code needed. That's 3 to 4 months of moisturizer for just $34. Search cowguys.com to grab a free tallow balm with your order. Let's pivot, and I only jumped to this next subject so quickly because somebody has to check out of her hotel because she doesn't like it. She's going to check into another one. Um,
Right. Oh, diva, diva. Oh, Kinsey's having a diva moment. She doesn't like her hotel. Oh, right. You haven't got sort of cockroaches in the bathroom, have you, or something like that?
No, but there's like a race here, and I feel like I'm in a frat house. There's like a big race in the city, and so like doors are slamming, there's sweaty boys everywhere, and that's just not my speed, okay? Like,
Ugh.
yeah,
I'm
but
not sure what's the carving is behind your hair. On the wall. It looks like someone's done an etch a sketch, one of those things, and you just draw a
yeah.
bunch of squiggly lines. So, with all due respect, I don't think it's the finest piece of art. I'm really not quite sure what it's supposed to be. That sort of,
I
I hate to
mean,
say,
it does kind of look like a phallic symbol coming out of my head now that
well,
I
yeah,
look at it.
was it? Well, now that you look at it and now that you mention it, now I can't put that image away now. So the next half an hour, as I'm talking to you, you've created an image that is probably. I have it anyway. It's very confusing what's going on behind you.
Well,
Anyway, I'm
speaking
sorry you're having such a bad day.
Speaking of phallic symbols, let's talk about
Yeah.
Meghan Markle. A new royal book is stirring controversy with fresh claims about the early tensions between Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. And I've actually seen you all over the place talking about this already, Tom Bower's new book. We love Tom Bower. It is, let's see, it's called Betrayal, Power, Deceit, and the Fight for the Future of the Royal Family. And in it, he discusses not only this peacemaking moment that's supposed to be between the Prince and Princess of Wales and Harry and Meghan, where Meghan tells William to get his finger out of her face. And it's like, oh, I would love to have his finger in my face.
Yeah.
Okay. You're blessed, woman. But we also find out, and I think that this surprised zero, that Queen Camilla has told friends under the radar that she believes Prince Harry is brainwashed. There's also, like today, I was saying this really interesting information about um, Dr. Sophie Shandaka confronting Harry about a popularity poll, or about just kind of like some research they did about his brand in general, and actually confronting him about it, and her saying to him, Meghan is a weakness. Meghan does not appeal to people. She is bringing you down. Your book did harm to your brand overall, and how absolutely furious he was about that confrontation. So a lot of interesting revelations coming from Bauer's book. What's your takeaway?
Well, how new do they feel? I think what they do is confirm what we all know. Nothing, when Camilla says that, that's just probably the icing on the cake, what we already know.
Yeah.
In many ways, and rumors and well, not more than rumors, things that I've heard over the years, right from the get-go. We all knew that William said to Harry, back off a bit, take your time. You think how long it took William to get over the line with Kate? At one stage, he bust up because he thinks that, give her a chance to sort of reevaluate. And he thought, well, this is a tough gig becoming a member of the royal family because of the scrutiny you're under for the rest of your life. So he almost was saying to his younger brother, just, fine, be in love, but we don't need to go at 100 miles an hour here because the warning signs to many must have been out. What is interesting, and the brainwash aspect, from is that he's lost all his friends. And you think because she wanted to have total control over his life, because he's not, uh, you know, blessed with too many grey cells at times, and that is the problem. He falls hock deep in love, or love, lust, call it what you will. Anyway, he's like in the first throes, and then he's absolutely goes over the top. And William is saying, back off. His friends almost say, and Netflix is this documentary in Spare, and what she said to Harry is absolutely right because the brand took a hit. People don't want to be associated with moaners. And if you are spending a lot of money in a charitable organization, it's fronted by somebody who's got giant chips on his shoulder and is moaning at every verse end about his lot while living in a palace or a great big mansion in California, people, feel uncomfortable. So watch, and I don't think he is used to people, him telling the truth. And that's what he finds so difficult.
Yeah.
That someone has the temerity to say, look, we're trying to run a charity here, but actually the feedback I'm getting is you are the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And that was hard for him to stomach. And why the charity relocated, they lost some sponsorship, and all it seems has come down to Meghan damaging his brand, which prior to that was worth a lot of money. People liked being associated with this cheeky, enthusiastic, okay, he may have sort of celebrated in slightly over the top fashion at times, but in reality was a very good positive asset. That's why the charity did well with it. Right. Yeah, I can see his heart's in the right place. But then it turned sour. And when it turns sour, then businesses who are asking to fork out when they've got lots of people and organizations they can donate to, then if Harry has created this problem by being, his spare, which we know was a however many words it was of a constant moan, and then the Netflix was however many episodes that was of a constant moan, and then they're still moaning, then it's not easy to raise funds.
Yeah.
And he's still moaning about his lot.
Also, I think, yeah, something you said, but I just want to like maybe put it in layman's terms, is with all of these projects, he inched away from being a philanthropist. As a working member of the royal family, that's how we saw him. Yeah, he was silly. He was the third wheel. He was the most eligible bachelor. But what he was consistently doing was showing up for charities and doing good work. And the more it became a gossip session and a moaning session and a tattletale session, the further he got away from being known as this charitable or charity entity. And I don't think he ever realized that the deeper he got into Hollywood, the further we associated him, the further away we associated him with a man doing good deeds. And ultimately, I still don't think of him as a man doing good deeds. For instance, this trip to Australia, you might be going and you might be speaking at a mental health seminar, but your wife is still shilling a $3,000 luxury retreat. That feels pretty commercial.
Well, the whole thing of that tour to Australia is one big commercial opportunity. You can hide behind a bit of charity, but they'll be wanting bells and whistles, and people will be, having to fork out lots of money. I mean, I did speak to a Sydney friend of mine, and I said to her, "What do you think?" She said, "We're not looking forward to the visit." And she moves in circles that would, sort of the
that
right
that
sort of
could
Australian.
that could afford a $3,000 luxury retreat, but would
Well,
not want to.
well, that's the last thing she probably would want to do, but and it was, and I get the feeling that they're having to work hard, and maybe they, I read somewhere they're probably doing because Australia looks a soft touch for them because they went there when they went there in 2018. It was then that it all unraveled, if I'm not mistaken, where she complained, "Well, why aren't I being paid to go
I should
here?"
be getting paid for this.
Yeah,
Can
and
I
I'm
tell?
sorry.
Wait, go ahead. But I have a
Yeah.
secret. I have a secret to tell you. Well, maybe it's not a secret by the time this goes up.
Crack on. A secret's far better than what I was going to say. The audience might be far happier with the Kinsey's secret
So I'm
behind the
not.
strange scene
I'm
behind
I'm
her
I'm
head.
just repeating what I heard last night. I was with Rob Shooter and I was with Maureen Callahan and Rob Shooter, and he told me, he's a journalist, that Meghan is also going to cut the ribbon and open a Soho house while in Australia. And I
Oh
thought,
no.
how very tacky and unregal. And Catherine, the Princess of Wales, would never. If you're in LA right now and you turn on the news, all over the news is allegations of an assault at a Soho house by one of the managers to one of the employees. It's just to steal one of your like, I love when you say this, but it's just so unedifying. The idea of Meghan Markle opening a Soho house in Australia as the Duchess of Sussex.
Well, yeah, and we've got one of the big Soho farmhouses near here, which is, I go there with, I'm not the target market because it's basically a holiday camp for posh people,
hmm
right? They got chalets, and people are driving around in their Chelsea tractors and pretending they're in the country by putting their Wellington boots on and saying, "Oh my God, I'm in the country," and finding a bit of mud and expensive prices to boot, because this is one of the big ones here. And
Yeah.
Soho Farmhouse has, attracts part of being in the Chipping Norton area, which is near, again, where I come from. Soho Farmhouse dominates the landscape in terms of the sort of social lifestyle. But I do think it's tacky of the Soho Farmhouse brand, you know, to be using Meghan to open it, if that is to be
Well,
the case.
Marcus Anderson is one of her best
Yeah.
friends. Soho House, she has as ever products in the LA Soho House building
Oh,
for sale.
oh.
And Marcus Anderson is actually the person that made the phone call that secured this luxury retreat opportunity for her. So that is
And isn't Well, no, there isn't a manager who's organised it. Is also manages someone who runs a big Australian breakfast or presents a big Australian breakfast show. Then there was a bust up between the presenters of this long-standing major American breakfast show, but the manager of the lady presenter,
Australian.
whose name
It's
is
an Australian brand.
Australian, is organising this trip for however many, and they can have this great intimate moment with Meghan Markle. I mean, I really do think I have to question people's sanity that they want to spend when there's a lot going on in the world, and they actually think 50, however much it is actually money well spent. How much better will you be from getting rid of your $1,500 or whatever it is to go and sit at a table and hear 20 minutes of word salad?
You won't be. I
Well,
mean, I think
I
that
mean, it's just despicable, isn't it? I mean, I
it,
don't understand it, but if she sells out, who am I to argue?
well, if she
And
sells out, I can almost guarantee that it won't be it'll be a some sort of discounted price because it's $3,000 in Australian money for the VIP package. $3,000. I mean, do you know how much
uh,
Botox that is?
well, that's probably quite a lot. I don't know. I can't. I don't know what I paid last time. Anyway, we digress. Anyway, no, I think that is it's still a lot of money, and that's
It's
just
too
one
much
thing that
money.
she's
It's
doing.
too much
A-
money. Yeah.
And is she not supposed to be staying somewhere for a retreat for 3 days?
Yeah.
Isn't she? Well, I mean, she's never stayed 3 days anywhere.
I
I
know.
can see what's going to happen. She'll turn up, then she'll get bored and want to go somewhere else.
Well, that's what Harry and Meghan, I mean, like t in Tom Bower's book, if you read Tom
Mm,
Bower's Invictus piece, and he was there, he was at
mm.
Invictus. He talked to me about being accosted by some Meghan Markle fans there. He talks about how Harry and Meghan just slide in and then slide out, go back to their big, expensive, fancy hotel suite, but they slide in for the pictures and they've squished a big group of people around them, even though the building's practically empty, so that Harry and Meghan look like they're surrounded by a huge audience because Invictus is so successful and so popular. And then Harry and Meghan just slide right back out and run back to their chic, expensive hotel suite.
Well, yeah, and I'm sure they'll be doing the same in Australia. They will be making sure they're staying in the best. Who's paying for it? Who's underwriting it? That's the question you have to ask. Are they underwriting it and the security? Do the Australian government, bearing in mind, that the king is their head of state, you know, who's underwriting it? Is the Australian government and going to have to pay some of the security costs, or is everything being covered by whoever is underwriting it and the Duke and Duchess of Sussex? So these quasi-royal tours, you have to question how are they being funded because they won't be they'll be expensive to put on. Going to Jordan,
Yeah.
that clearly must have been an expensive trip, the last one, and they're staying in the fancy suite at the top of one of the best hotels in Jordan. I just that's where I question the whole thing. And isn't it also being used as a way of helping to try and launch the As Ever brand in Australia with a new intention to be a truly global brand, having been pegged back by one of the biggest global brands out there, Netflix? He
It's my
says.
understanding that Australia's laws are incredibly strict, and that would be tough for Meghan, and that the going global um, leak from the Sussex side was to try to uh, kill some of the stories that were developing from Netflix about how there was just a real lack of interest when it came to the Meghan brand.
Well, I don't think. Well, look, we've said it before. I'm not. I've never been convinced. I'm not buying that kind of stuff. None of it. Just because it comes packaged in a good manner
No, it's
doesn't
not
mean.
packaged in a good manner. It's the her packaging is boring and bland too.
Well, yes, possibly. Look, I've been at Cheltenham, and she sells rosé. The whole point of rosé is what's the bottle like? Because there's so much out there. So it's like going to buy gin or now sort of some fat, it's all designed to attract your attention. Who's got the best looking bottle? Because probably the quality of the product is
It's
of
the
a
same.
reasonably similar nature, right? So ultimately, you've got to convince that if buying Megan's rosé that rosé is going to be better value for money at that price than
Yeah.
what you can get in your local supermarket.
Yeah.
And that I'm not convinced.
It's
That's why I want to go is why do you think that I've got a party and I'm proudly going around with a Megan bottle of wine, rosé? I just can't see. By the way, this is water, dear viewers. So I can't see how if she thinks she's going to crack the market big time unless it's good. Because I know what these firms have to put into promoting it. Huge amounts of money
Yeah.
have to be the marketing of these products. She just thinks by a name alone that you're going to want something that's being
Harry's
produced by,
by Harry's title.
yeah, with an anonymous winemaker who's just moved some product to one side and is bottling them as your lovingly crafted rosé. Years of working with people who cultivate rosé. No, she's just gone along and said, "We've got a job lot here. Knock that back, put it in a fancy bottle, and that buy six for how much? What was it? You
$90,
can't buy. You've got to,
$90,
yeah,
or I think you get three for 90 or something. I don't remember. I
three
don't,
for nine, $30. You know, ordinary rosé in this country is going for about £20.
yeah.
Right? I'm sure you can get cheaper, but a few brands you find them around about 20, 22. And it's the summer drink of choice. It's we call it Warwickshire mouthwash because the party's in the summer. So we know rosé is extremely popular, but I don't remember last anyone ever saying, "Oh, look at that bottle."
Yeah, that's the bottle for me. All right, Rupert,
Yeah.
I have to cut this chat short because I got to
What?
get the heck out of this hotel room to check into my new Diva hotel room.
Oh, I
Uh,
didn't know you were a diva, but the image I haven't been able to lose for the last 25 minutes of what's behind you. The creative work of the artist in your hotel. Well, check out of your hotel.
Yeah,
Have
yeah.
a fun packed week,
Thanks.
and look forward to getting back to whatever time zone you live in next week. But anyway, happy travels.
Thank you. Agree with us, disagree with us, let us know in the comments below. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video with a friend. Thanks so much for watching, everyone.